Chamber of Commerce in South Asia. Set up in 2016, Government e-Marketplace is a 100% government-owned company set up under the aegis of Ministry of Commerce and Industry for procurement of common use goods and services by government ministries, departments, and CPSEs. As we know, nearly 80% women-owned establishments in India are self-financed, and more than 60% of 8 million units are owned and led by women entrepreneurs from socially challenged sections. Government e-Marketplace launched in January 2019 an initiative called Womennia on GeM to enable women entrepreneurs and women self-help groups to sell handicrafts and handloom, accessories, jute and coir products, home decor and office furnishings directly to various government ministries, departments, and institutions. The initiative seeks to develop women entrepreneurship on the margins of society to achieve gender-inclusive economic growth. Womennia on GeM aimed at spurring hyper-local economic opportunities for women entrepreneurs and address goals and objectives under United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 5 to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Today, we have with us as our chief guest, Mr. Taleen Kumar, IAS, and his team from Government e-Marketplace. Mr. Kumar is the CEO of Government e-Marketplace and an IAS officer of 1987 batch. He holds a BTech from IIT Kanpur in electrical engineering, MTech from IIT Delhi, and an MBA from USA. Mr. Kumar brings with him 32 years of experience in public administration. In Government of India, he served as Joint Secretary in Ministry of Commerce and Industry and also held additional charge as Managing Director and Executive Officer of Delhi Mumbai Industrial Development Corporation Limited. He has also served West Bengal in various capacities as Additional Chief Secretary, Principal Secretary, Excise Commissioner, District Magistrates, etc., leading departments and directorates. In his postings, Mr. Kumar has always endeavored to conceptualize and execute transformational ideas while simultaneously bringing in lasting change in government processes, often with the judicious use of new technologies. Welcome, Mr. Kumar. To interact with Mr. Kumar will be our 37th President of Flow, Jahnavi Pukon. Jahnavi is the first person from Northeast to become Flow's president. A woman entrepreneur, Jahnavi has 2 award-winning companies, Jungle Travels India and Assam Bengal Navigation Company, both engaged in tourism and travel. Jahnavi is a strong advocate for women empowerment and sustainable development. I would now request Jahnavi to give a welcome address and take this webinar forward.
Thank you. Namaskar. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the national webinar on Government e-Marketplace and Women Entrepreneurs. We have with us Mr. Taleen Kumar, CEO GeM, along with his team. On behalf of Flow, the women's wing of FICCI, and the 17th chapter that I represent as the national president, I welcome you, Mr. Kumar. With 32 years of experience in public administration, you are the CEO of the Government e-Marketplace and a member of the IAS services of 1987 batch. Mr. Kumar, we are all aware that the participation of women in business is increasingly being recognized globally as fundamental to economic growth. MSMEs play a significant role in the national economic development of any country. They provide the majority of the new jobs and produce much of the creativity and the innovation that fuel economic progress. Recently, we had an interaction with Sri Nitin Gadkari, Honorable Minister of MSME. Sri Gadkari mentioned that the government is providing subsidies to empower women entrepreneurs. For the general category, 25% in rural areas and 15% for urban areas. For the special category, it's 35% in rural and 25% in urban. And also for more than 30% of women-led micro-enterprises, they are being assisted by the government every year. He informed us that the government is also planning to create a deposit-taking social microfinance organization to disburse loans of up to 10 lakhs to women and small entrepreneurs easily. So subsequent to that interaction, it was incumbent upon us to learn more about the government e-marketplace. As we all know, government e-marketplace is an online public procurement portal, which is primarily brought in to focus and aid MSMEs for the procurement and selling of products. And it aims to help the declining supply chain challenges for MSMEs and to try to take India forward. But for the women, we find that though there are so many opportunities ahead of us, we do not know how to go forward and grab it with both hands. As mentioned by Mr. Kumar in a recent interview, the three pillars of GeM are inclusivity, a perk of the government e-marketplace where small vendors to business owners are all equally allowed to use the services. Second, as you had mentioned, is usability and transparency, a feature where the authorities ensure complete transparency. From craftsmen, artisans, to shop owners, wholesalers, all can apparently use the GeM portal and benefit. The third pillar is efficiency and cost saving. You had mentioned in a recent study by the World Bank, 163,000 tenders were analyzed, and it was found that at GeM, 9.5% less than the median price was offered. So the World Bank had identified GeM as a cost-effective platform. So with 17 pan-India chapters that Flow has, with 8,000 women entrepreneurs and professionals all across the country, we are here to understand more about how this works. Flow works towards empowering and entrepreneurship of its members. We want to enable economic self-reliance, and we want to participate in the sustainable development of the nation. That is why we are all keen today with all the women entrepreneurs from Flow to listen to you and learn more and understand the mechanism of how this will function. I would like to thank my day chair, Haritri Patnaik, for putting this session together. And as a token of our gratitude to Mr. Kumar, may I present a virtual memento on behalf of Flow. And may I request IT to show the memento, please. When we are back to normal world, Mr. Kumar, this memento will find its way to your office. Should we start with the... I'll do that. So we would like to start with a question for you. Is that the format, Haritri, or what is the next?
Mr. Kumar will give his address. Then we start. Then we'll have an orientation. Then we have your questions. Thank you. Over to Mr. Kumar. Yes.
Yes. So thank you for the wonderful virtual memento. The president of the FICCI Ladies Organization, Ms. Jahnavi Phukan, the chairperson of the FICCI Ladies Organization, Bhubaneswar, Ms. Dharitri Patnaik, the women entrepreneurs participating in today's webinar, and my colleagues from GeM. At the outset, I would like to thank the FICCI Ladies Organization for giving the community marketplace an opportunity to interact with the women entrepreneurs across the country and share with them the tremendous progress GeM has made in the last 4 years. It also gives me great pleasure to address this gathering and share more about the work we are doing at GeM, which is very relevant to the vision and mission of FICCI Flow. Flow has been instrumental in creating opportunities to actively include women in the nation's economic growth trajectory for nearly 4 decades now. I want to commend Flow's initiatives and collaborations, particularly the incubation and mentorship cell, which is nurturing and handholding young women entrepreneurs. The Skilling and Livelihood Generation Initiative is also doing important and critical work by providing skills training to make women more employable, self-reliant, and financially empowered. Like Flow's mission, one of the primary goals of GeM also is to create truly inclusive economic growth by inclusion of MSMEs, women, and other underserved sellers. It is heartening that we are all working towards the larger goals of inclusivity and an Atmanirbhar Bharat. To begin, I would like to reiterate the three visions of pillars of GeM, which the Honorable Prime Minister himself has expounded. And his vision is to drive the three pillars, as the President Flo said. The first pillar is inclusivity, the second is usability and transparency, and the third is efficiency and cost savings. Now, why is this vision important? Because this vision brings the government closer to the people. These are exactly the things that people want to see in a government. And that is why I regard this as a very, very important part of GeM. I would like to say that many people think about GeM as simply as a procurement portal. Well, I would like to say that it is much more than a public procurement portal only. Now, if you see closely, it has engineered the largest change management process in India in all government departments. We have 46,000 plus buyers in GeM, and all of them are aligning their processes with GeM because they find GeM as a very, very cost-effective and a fast, transparent platform to procure from. Secondly, I would like to say that the manner in which digitization has happened and technology and analytics have participated in the transformation of public procurement, all these have brought in tremendous visibility in procurement. All of us know how government procurement used to happen. And I'm not criticizing anyone here. I'm just saying that at times we felt in the government that the process was pretty opaque and there was no visibility. Well, GeM now brings visibility through digitization, analytics, and technology. Another point I would like to say is that GeM is very good as a platform for ensuring transmission of policy intent. Government may have various kinds of policies, and it would like them to be translated into action. But platforms like GeM, digital platforms like GeM, actually make it happen. And whatever is the policy intent, we can transmit it faithfully, efficiently, and fast. So that is why I consider GeM to be much more than a national public procurement portal only. Let me quickly take you through the journey that GeM has traversed in the last 4 years. It has made tremendous strides, which must be appreciated across multiple dimensions. If you look at the large scale of operations, we have now 46,000 plus buyers. We have nearly 456,000 sellers, 7,900 plus product categories, 22 lakh plus products on the platform today. And the cumulative order value on GeM is 60,000 crore plus. And if you consider 9.75% as the savings on median price, it is the savings across all state government buyers and across all central government buyers would be roughly around 5,850 crore, or in the neighborhood of that amount, which is a substantial sum of money. Then if you see how GeM has driven inclusion across the country, whether they are MSMEs or whether they are women entrepreneurs or startups. We have 118,000 MSME sellers, which are about 26% of sellers registered on GeM. And they have contributed to around 31,681 crore of orders placed. We have 15,888 women entrepreneurs who have procured, who have helped in the procurement from GeM worth 4,025 crore worth of orders. We have 1,000 SHGs who have been registered on GeM with 500 plus products in 5 exclusive SARAS product categories through integration with the Ministry of Rural Development. We have created a roadmap for onboarding 21 lakh weavers and 18 lakh craftsmen with the help of the Office of Development Commissioners, Handicrafts and Handlooms in consultation with the Ministry of Textiles. And in a short time, they have about 17,000 of them and craftsmen of weavers and about 7,000 craftsmen have already been onboarded on GeM. We have 5,500 SC/ST businesses selling through GeM. GeM is also powering the new economy and innovation with 6,551 startups transacting about 1,393 crore on GeM. These are some of the statistics I wanted to share with you to show how important inclusivity is for GeM. Of all procurement made in GeM in the year 2019-20, about 61% was from MSMEs, women entrepreneurs, and startups. GeM also is engaged in creating value-added products on its platform to help women entrepreneurs, MSMEs, and startups. Now, what we are doing is we have traditionally seen that banks are unable to offer loans, frictionless loans in an uncollateralized manner because they don't have access to data. We are working on a product called GeM Sahay, which will take the seller's data generated on GeM and afford him an opportunity of access to working capital only based on the order he receives from a buyer or the CRAC generated by the buyer. So he will have access to frictionless, uncollateralized loans to working capital, loans in the form of working capital, and this will be disbursed instantly by the banks in a few minutes. I hope this will go a long way in improving the access of sellers to working capital in a frictionless manner. Now, people have seen how GeM has grown, and many people may think that it is only to do with central government because it's a central government organization. Well, this is not true. The entire country, the buyers from the entire country are procuring from GeM. In fact, about half the transactions in GeM come from state government buyers. And when I say all, I mean all state governments, all union territories are procuring from GeM. And there are 4 states which are yet to sign MOU with us. But these 4 states are also procuring from GeM. And very shortly, they will be signing MOUs with us. And they are all processing these MOUs. A report from the World Bank has indicated an average savings of 9.75% for the period from February 2019 to January 2020, with maximum savings in the top 5 categories ranging from 23.48% to 60.52%. And if you see these percentages, these maximum savings, I'm not talking about maximum savings that World Bank has seen. Desktop computers up to 44.58%, notebook computers up to 51.05%, ambulances up to 23.48%, light trucks or sport utility vehicles up to 60.52%, school uniform up to 8%. In fact, in general, World Bank has found that for every increase in the number of bidders by 1, the savings increased by 0.55% from the median price. This establishes GeM as a platform which also promotes cost savings and efficiency. And if you see the number, over 60,000 crore worth of cumulative order value, if 5,850 crore worth of savings are close to exchequers across the country, GeM has, but through that means, those considerations, GeM has delivered the highest ROI among all public sector organizations in India. Examples that I want to mention, which I have learned from various buyers in person. The Chief Secretary Government was recounting an incident in which he said that in Garib Kalyan Mela in Gujarat, more than 50% savings accrued to him, to the state government, when they switched over to GeM. The Armed Force Medical Service, they have termed their experience on GeM as nothing short of a revolution during COVID times. Incidentally, during COVID, GeM to enable fast and quick procurement. And I would like to share with you that we have 240 product categories related to the pandemic, of which 167 are medical and 73 are auxiliary. And there are 9 services specific to COVID, which are on the COVID page in GeM. And all this happened from March 23 onwards. We have more than 24,000 sellers and 89,000 products available in COVID-19 medical categories. Taken together in all the COVID-19 categories, we have more than 2 lakh products and around 37,000 sellers. From 1st of March onwards, if you see the total cumulative order value on GeM in COVID categories has been 2,053 crore, over 1,60,000 orders. So GeM has already contributed to the preparations and to the action plan that many states and central government organizations chalked out to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. We have also seen that tenders which otherwise used to cost around 400 crore for PPEs are now costing only 156 crore on GeM. Well, how is this possible? How are these numbers possible? These are possible because in the marketplace, as opposed to a publishing portal, you are able to digitize the catalogs. You are able to standardize the catalogs. The seller databases are attached to categories. Once there is a bid in any category on any product, all that category know about that bid and they participate. There are no barriers to participation. There is no barrier to registration. This is what GeM is all about, lowering the cost of doing business for small sellers. India initiative, we have already enabled percentage of content and country of origin to be introduced on the platform. Information about quantities procured at various price points and terms and conditions are being shown on the portal. We have introduced an advanced tender search feature on the portal, which allows a buyer to search for tenders across GeM, and therefore he can find the areas in which he can grow, in which he can diversify, and then he can grow with GeM. GeM today is a true benchmark in that a world-class e-marketplace can be created and operated at scale by a government in a vast country like India. The story of GeM has been shared with ministries across many countries, USA, Malaysia, Singapore, UAE, and it has been received with wide appreciation. Many people ask me, what is the potential of GeM and how far can you go? Well, according to estimates in GeM, we have seen that procurement is traditionally across 3 buckets: goods, services, and works. Works is not yet a part of GeM's mandate. Now, if you consider only goods and services, the approximate value of goods and services which are procured by entire government in the country, which means state governments and central government organizations, that number is about 5% of the GDP and translates to around 5 lakh to 8 lakh crores per annum. And in approximately in $1 billion terms, about 100 billion US dollars. So if you see that number, then GeM obviously will try to get as close to that number as possible. Global benchmarking compared to Chile Compra, GE Biz of Singapore, Coneps of Korea, all have shown that about 5% of the GDP roughly is the basket of procurement of goods and services by the governments. Now, what is the way forward in GeM? Where are we headed? Now, if you see the budget speech of the Honorable Finance Minister for the financial year 2020-21, you can see there that is a para called para number 48, which talks about unified public procurement system for the country, which GeM is implementing now. In fact, GeM 4.0 will be anchored in the unified procurement system. And what it means is that we have different public publishing portals as of now, in which buyers publish their tenders. And I want to draw a distinction between publishing portals and a marketplace like GeM. GeM as a marketplace is several notches superior in terms of characteristics in terms of digitization, in terms of the value delivered to the buyer. The unique experience on GeM and to have a GeM. If you see the publishing portals like Central Public Procurement Portal, then you have the Indian Railway Procurement System, you have the Defense Public Procurement Portal. Now, all these portals, the buyers go and publish the tenders now. What we are saying is we will bring the functionalities of all these portals onto GeM. And then a buyer on GeM will have and he will not have to hop from portal to portal. And what this will lead to is that he will be able to publish his bids there, and this will lead to wider seller participation because all the sellers will have to respond from GeM. It will lead to economies of scale, and it will lead to dissemination of best practices because all the sellers will be on GeM. And how are we going to implement it? Well, the first step will be for a buyer to come on GeM and obtain what is known as a GeM availability report and a past transaction summary. And once he does so, then he can decide to procure from GeM or he can decide to procure outside GeM. Let us say he goes and procures outside GeM, then he can publish a tender on publishing portals. And this GeM validity report, availability report will be validated against that ID. And then only he can publish his tenders on publishing portals. And I must tell you that he may not have to go on other publishing portals because we will allow him to publish the bid on GeM itself. And this is what is known as a custom bid functionality. It will go live. So basically he comes on GeM. If he finds something on GeM, he can bid on GeM against the categories. If he cannot find the category that he's interested in, then he can go for a custom bid. That way he may not have to hop from portal to portal, and he will have a single user experience. And therefore he will have a much better experience in terms of procuring goods and services for his departments. Now coming to the processes and catalog management processes and systems that we are developing on GeM, we have completed 250 plus processes and enhancements since August 2019 till date, including 72 CPSE specific catalogs and features. And we are also anxious to create all those features and functionalities which the large buyers always wanted to have, like Ministry of Defense, like railways, like top central public sector undertakings. So we are in the process of completing all that by September 2020. So we have completed 250 plus software processes, and we will be completing another 200 plus by September 2020 to take us to GeM 4.0. And part of that process is the integration of GeM with the Ministry of Railways. And we are in active discussions with the Ministry of Railways to complete the integration so that their digitized processes can be leveraged to create a bid seamlessly on GeM, and so that the bidding can happen through GeM. And needless to say, all the benefits of GeM will then accrue also to of railways. We have also created special functionalities and features, and some of them I wanted to share with you because they are important, and they have to do with uploading of engineering drawings during creation of bids. adding new specifications in categories. So a buyer who wants to come to GeM and bid for GeM, if he doesn't find something, he can create an instance of the category, and he can then add a specification on the start bidding against that. So he will not be handicapped, or he will not be hampered in his bidding process just because the specification wasn't there. And not only can he not upload a drawing against one category, he can upload a common drawing against a number of categories. He can impose special terms and conditions at category level while bidding. He can go for staggered delivery, which means long-term delivery staggered over numerous time intervals. He can go for item-wise, consignee-wise evaluation. He can go for demand aggregation. He can go for price variation clauses. He can go for mandatory caution money deposit by sellers, and so on. So all these processes that we will put in place in GeM will take GeM to the next level, which we are now calling 4.0. And even while we are thinking about 4.0, we are at the same time thinking about 5.0 as well in terms of technological interventions, such as using AI and analytics and predictive analytics and forecasting for enabling buyers to do their complete procurement planning and monitoring from GeM. We are also thinking about automating several processes of bidding, such as evaluation of PQ criteria or evaluation of technical criteria, because I get complaints from sellers that they have been unjustly and unfairly, eliminated during technical qualification, and they have their candidature for bidding has been rejected unfairly and unjustly. So the role of GeM would be to automate these processes and recommend to the buyer possible evaluations of PQ criteria and technical evaluation criteria. Moreover, we are also in the process of using AI and analytics and machine learning to see how categories that larger buyers already have in the form of digitized set of specifications, how can we map it against categories in GeM? So onboarding specifications in the digital specifications from products from other platforms and migrating those products onto GeM will be another area that 5.2 will be looking at. Then coming to payment systems, we are now moving towards deemed acceptance and timely payments to the seller, which has been a source of great concern to many sellers. And the central government has taken a historic decision of charging 1% interest per month for all delayed payments. And the payment is delayed when 10 days have elapsed after the generation of the consignee receipt and acceptance certificate. So we are moving towards a system by which if the buyer does not generate the provisional receipt certificate, GeM will intervene and generate the PRC for him. If the buyer does not generate the CRAC after 10 days of delivery of a product, GeM will intervene and generate that CRAC for him. For non-PFMS buyers, GeM will even debit his account and credit the seller's account. For PFMS buyers, GeM will continuously escalate the matter to superior officers of the buyer. So all these are being executed only for ensuring timely payments to sellers, which GeM recognizes as a very important aspect or having a good, strong ecosystem of buyers and sellers. We are also in the process of revamping the bidding systems, both for L1 and also purchase of goods and services over 5 lakh rupees to curb unfair rejection and to ensure quality. On the quality front, it has been a challenging task because the L1 procurement people associate with poor quality. But let me assure you that GeM is coming out of that. And today we had a meeting with SAIL and Ministry of Steel, and he himself was saying that not only are we getting things faster on GeM and more transparently, we are getting products of better quality. And we have taken several steps around that. We have done a rating revamp. It's being still carried out. It's not yet live, but we will bring out a process of rating of sellers in which the feedback from buyers will be taken, feedback from users will be taken, along with the transaction history of the seller on GeM. We have imposed price bounds across categories. We have introduced title nomenclature for naming products on GeM. We are also going to assess resellers besides OEMs. We have introduced a voice of the customer initiative, which says that GeM should obsess about its customers, GeM should listen to its customers, and GeM should design products around customers. We will revamp all the seller touch points. Many have already been revamped. Many are in the process of being revamping. Video tutorials will be introduced at all the seller touch points. We have introduced an incentive scheme for buyers and sellers. And we will have a system by which they actually engage with the platform, and so that it becomes interesting to them. We will introduce additional performance guarantees for bidding lower than a set threshold. We will revamp the entire user experience and user interface for GeM so that both buyers and sellers have a good journey on GeM when they come on GeM. The continuous innovation that is central to the top e-marketplaces are also being planned in GeM 4.0. They are centered around advanced analytics, AI, and blockchain. And specifically, machine learning and deep learning are being deployed to improve user experiences and journeys on the portal and for detecting anomalous behavior in the marketplace, be it price, be it catalog, be it a combination of specifications and price. We are using the natural language powered search engines for effective and efficient search. We are doing a project with the government of UP in 2 districts for procurement of medicines and supply of medicines by introducing Hyperledger for smart contracts so that traceability and authenticity are ensured. And later on, blockchain can be used even for smart contracts. We are going to introduce in GeM 5.0 robotic process automation to automate the evaluation of pre-qualification criteria and technical qualification criteria. And we are also going to integrate with the big buyer systems like their enterprise resource planning systems so that we create a mini GeM in each of these ERPs. That means while the buyer is in his own system, he can access GeM and create a bid on GeM. So with these words, I would like to end. And before concluding, I once again thank Flow for organizing this webinar and for giving us an opportunity to share our thoughts. We would like to invite all the women entrepreneurs to come on GeM, onboard GeM, and benefit from GeM, and take advantage of a digital platform, which by its very nature is a game changer, and it can onboard stakeholders at zero cost, in zero time, and in a trust-based, rule-based system, and with a positive network effect. So I would end here, and I would thank Flow once again for organizing this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar. It's been an enormous amount of learning from you. The fact that you have taken us through the entire process of this very remarkable work, technological advancements which has taken place, and the thought process that the government has brought into the entire procurement system of our country after the last 70 years. It is so impressive to listen to. But I would like to ask that we, Flow, with our 8,000 women base, would be really keen to come on board. So we will request a tutorial, especially for Flow, to help us break down and simplify the processes. I know you've taken us through it, but we'll still need that human interface end of the day and those tutorials in place to get each of our members who are interested. And we would like to have a special tie-up with Flow and GeM, and we will take advantage of what you offer. I also wanted to tell you that for besides our membership base, we are very keen on the directive of Smriti Irani ji to work for the distressed handloom artisans and handicrafts. So we've been trying to onboard them as well. In my capacity as an entrepreneur from the Northeast, I also have a handloom company, and I remember I was enrolled in GeM through HEPC. Even for me, there was a lot of paperwork I did not understand and a lot of bureaucracy involved, so I left it at that. So what has happened to me must not happen again to anyone. And so once we have this more closer interface, it would help all of us to onboard. So for our membership and the membership beyond, we think this is an excellent platform and we will take it forward with you. So we hope you will help us.
Yeah, I only help you. We will handhold you till all of you come on board, GeM.
Yes.
So we want a very close kind of an interface that you can help us develop. And there is another suggestion that I remember now, since you talked about handlooms and weavers and handicrafts.
Yes.
See, bringing them on GeM is only one part. Even women entrepreneurs coming on GeM is one part. What I would request your help on, and this is just loud thinking, on 3 parameters I think we need to develop and we need to intervene on, so that these entrepreneurs, whether they are artisans, weavers or craftsmen, they benefit. Even self-help groups. So I have seen 3 areas where there are gaps. The number one area that I have noticed is that there is no aggregator. So when you interact with artisans at a lower level, when you give an order, he needs access to capital, working capital immediately, because he does not have capital upfront.
Exactly.
But he knows he can deliver once the capital is there with him. So there has to be some umbrella aggregator, not an outsider, because an outsider is likely to exploit him and so on, and we will not be able to prevent such exploitation. So not an outsider, but somebody from his own community, like an Apex SHG or an Apex farmer producer organization, in which he has trust, because it is from his own community, from his own membership. If we can develop such aggregators, who can then, so that when the order from GeM goes, the order can go to the aggregator as well as to the entrepreneur. And therefore, the aggregator then knows what he can do. He can access banks. He is more savvy. He can help them. But since he is from his own community, he has also trust in them. This is one area which I think would be tremendously useful in taking these artisans to the next level. The second area that I have noticed the deficiency is in terms of design skills to be imparted to these people. I'm saying design in a very broad sense.
Yes.
In terms of product development, like in IT and software, we talk about product managers who deliver good software products. Similarly, can we not have access? Can we not generate or create access of these entrepreneurs to good design thinking, or to organizations which can help them design products, take their native skill and fashion it into some kind of a design which is more acceptable to customers and buyers and so on. So that will increase their saleability or marketability of their product. So this is another area that I find that there is a gap and possibly can be addressed. The third area is, the logistics. a small entrepreneur or a seller or an artisan or a craftsman, suppose he does a good job and creates something. How will that something be transported across, a large distance? Let's say on GeM. In other platforms like Amazon and Flipkart, they have a tie-up. But in GeM, can we not have the connectivity in two stages? First is the last mile connectivity. Maybe from the interior of a village to the to the outskirts of a village, and from the outskirts of a village to the buyer's destination.
Yes.
So I think the India Post or some such organization, if we start talking together along with entrepreneurs, this third deficiency or gap can also be addressed. These three will take all these entrepreneurs and small sellers to the next level.
I completely agree, Mr. Taleen. You have understood the ground realities only too well. That we know the backward and the forward linkages are missing, and there's a whole breaks in this supply chain management. And we are also learning, and from our part, we will learn, and we will learn and work in our chapters to teach the chapters in our regional chapters. So we see Flow as a connective eye. Our jobs to connect the dots, to learn and take your voice to our chapters along the country. We will try for that, and we will try to do it with you. And
Thank you.
Mr. Kumar, tell me, how is the Atmanirbhar policy being implemented at GeM?
So Atmanirbhar is Atmanirbhar Bharat. GeM is totally right into it.
Yes.
We have enabled. You must be knowing about the what's known as the Public Procurement Preference to Make in India order that was issued by the Government of India on the 4th of June.
Yes.
So there are two classes of sellers, one seller and a class 2 seller. So class 1 is someone whose local content, percentage of local content is 50% or more. And class 2 seller is a person whose percentage of local content is 20% or more, but less than 50. So in the bidding process, both can bid, but the preference will be given only to class 1 seller. This is the government policy. So what we have done on GeM is, in order to facilitate a buyer to choose different classes, different percentages of local content, we are saying that when the product is uploaded, the OEM will have to declare the percentage of local content. This is not mandatory, but this is optional. And if he does not do so, he will not get the benefit of the policy. He will be left out. When the buyer uses a filter on GeM, then he will be left out. So most sellers who want to be included always give their local content. And it is best given not by the reseller, but by the original equipment manufacturer. Okay, so this is one. Second is, if the origin is not at all India and it is outside India, then we are saying that you have to declare the country of origin. I'm not saying that if you declare country of origin, some country XYZ, I will remove you from the portal. You will be there, very much there. But if you don't declare your country of origin, then because of the extant laws and the Consumer Protection Act and the rules made there under, because of those legal and statutory provisions, we will have to tell you that you cannot be on the portal. So your catalog will be sidelined if you don't declare the country of origin. So we have been warning the sellers for a long time now that please declare the country of origin. That is necessary for us to do that. So besides the Make in India filter, we also have the MSC filters. So who are the micro and small enterprises? So you can filter them actually, and if a buyer wants to place orders only on them, he can do so. So please remember that GeM is only a platform which enables various decisions by buyers to be taken. And we have implemented all such, features and functionalities which buyers can use as per government policy.
Thank you. Absolutely fascinating. May I request our retreat to take over now?
Thank you.
Thank you, Janvi. I have a few questions from our members, so I'll ask those questions. The first one is from Sangeeta Lalwani, who's a GB member from Pune. She says her son, Anand Lalwani, is pursuing his PhD at Stanford University and has invented an UV box which has been tested by government lab and private labs for destroying bacteria and viruses. It's already registered at Amazon, and how can you register it at GeM?
So first of all, congratulations on coming up with an innovative product. So this is always, it's not an easy thing to do. So whoever does it deserves our commendations. So the answer to his question is that on GeM, we have a separate initiative and separate corner for startups, because we are conscious that startups will have to play a very important role in the growth of GeM. So we have created a startup runway on GeM. So on a startup runway, his product can immediately be showcased and various buyers can see his product. So he has a choice of either put product on the startup runway, or he can straight away put it in the marketplace. It is up to him. If he puts it in the marketplace, he's confident that people will straight away purchase. He can put it in the marketplace. And once he puts it there, then we create a small logo of a startup to show that this product is a startup. So that way, when a buyer looks at a product, he knows it is a startup, it is from a startup. So that is how we promote startups on GeM. And I would strongly advise him to get a DPIIT registration. So the DPIIT registration is from the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. And what it does is, because of this registration, whenever a buyer chooses to purchase from a startup, two things can be waived. One is the number of years of experience, and then his turnover, which clearly a startup will not have, because he is a startup. How can he have experience? How can he have a turnover? So therefore, these two things will be exempt because of a DPIIT registration. His product can be on GeM. We will promote it by having a startup logo next to his product. And let me tell you that startups have played a very, as I said in my address, and I have the exact numbers now to share with you. The total procurement from startups has been 1,393 crores. And the number of startups on GeM are 6,551, and they are growing every day.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure Sangeeta is listening to this, or I'll convey it to her, and we'll get Anand's product registered in GeM. The next question I have is from Sonal More, who in fact nudged me to have this GeM webinar and training. She's a Flow member from Bhubaneswar. She wants to know, why has GeM not been popular among business houses, small scale business entrepreneurs, although it's been there as a government marketplace for some years?
So I will rely on her to make it popular, and on Flow as well. But she's right. Many times what we do, it does not find mention because of some reason or the other in many quarters. So that is why we are here to tell you about GeM, to make you aware about GeM. And GeM is one of its kind platform in the world, I would say, because there's no other platform which can scale up to $100 billion size when it is full-fledged, it is working in a full-fledged manner. And in many countries like GSA, I was told that they are now switching to a marketplace model. So there are some areas where we are ahead of them. So that is why GeM will be a platform to watch in the days to come. And every country has, through its procurement policies, has helped domestic manufacturing and investment. And GeM is also trying to do the same thing through the government policies and a good, solid implementation of government policies through the platform. And having inclusivity as an important pillar of GeM, so that every small seller can come on GeM and sell directly to government.
Thank you, sir. And somewhat related to what you've just spoken about is a question from Flo Bhubaneswar's Senior Vice Chairperson, Sunita Mohanty. She says that now that the business and economy has so many challenges in this testing times, is government taking any specific measures for the entrepreneurs registered under GeM portal? Is the government thinking of increasing the fixed percentage of PSU to encourage more business for the registered entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs?
So there is already a percentage that, such percentage procured from MSMEs and from women and entrepreneurs. So that percentage is already fixed by the government to encourage such procurement. And I believe that from MSMEs, you have to procure 25% compulsorily. So there are some, some percentages which are policy the government has already fixed. And GeM is, as a platform, will try to facilitate the transmission of all such policy intents. And we, as I told you, we are trying to create a product called GeM Sahai, by which you can get frictionless access to working capital, which is uncollateralized. You don't have to pay any collateral. And within a few moments, basically in real time, your data is transmitted to some banks, and the banks give you the, the working capital amount as well as the cost of capital. So those things will come in very handy for sellers who can rely on totally digital platforms and digital processes to do their businesses.
Thank you, sir. The last but not the least is a question from Anshu Jhunjhunwala, who's a member from Flow Bangalore. She is asking, does GeM provide with a list of required goods by the government? What is the percentage of advantage given to women entrepreneurs?
So again, there is a rule of a certain percentage that has to be procured by government organizations from women entrepreneurs. So that is fixed by the government of India. So that is there to encourage women entrepreneurs. But other than that, women entrepreneurs can always come as a startup on the startup runway if the product is totally new, and they can benefit from GeM. And generally, just as GeM has been helping all the MSMEs and women entrepreneurs, there is no cost for registration. So you can just come to GeM and register yourself in 5 to 7 minutes. And if your product is already there, then you can upload against a catalog. If you see that your product does not fit into any catalog, then there is a process by which you can request the creation of a catalog, and that is called the crowdsourcing of categories. There is a module in GeM called crowdsourcing of categories, where any buyer or seller can come and request for any number of categories to be created. So we will take all that request and create the categories for the seller.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'll just take one more question, which says there are a few questions that's come up in the chat, but I'll just take one more. This is from Rupa Patel. She's also a GB member from Baroda. And she's asking, is GeM a good platform for niche technical products?
Yes, absolutely. GeM is a platform for everything that state governments and central government organizations will like to procure. And there are many, many technical products on the platforms. Even cloud procurement of cloud services is happening on GeM today. So starting from simple sanitizers to cloud services, all are being procured from GeM. So GeM has, as I said, 22 lakh plus products and about 8,000 categories. It also has 131 services. So individual services are also on GeM, starting from cab hiring to, security services, to housekeeping, to gardening, to facility management. All those services are on GeM. So the technical products are very much on GeM. Many technical products are already there, and if anyone has an inclination to put some technical product on GeM, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it is a very good thing. And GeM already has many technical products.
Sorry, so I have to continue with a few more questions. That's true. So one of our GB members, Minal Jain, she's saying that the live chat on the website is not responsive and nobody is available. And once any account is registered, it's very difficult to recover if we forget the password. It has to be user-friendly.
So I will like to share. Give me the specifics on my email, and then I will. It will help me to find out what her issues are and actually benefit others also. If we can actually improve on the product, there might be some operational issues that she is facing. So we will be able to take care of that only when the specifics are given to us. So I'll be happy to if you can take all these questions which are about operational difficulties and give it to me, then while in the process of launching 4.0, we can improve on these products. We are also working on the chatbot, so it is work in progress. So if you have any concerns, we will take that into account. And the chatbot, we are going one step beyond the chatbot. We are actually going for a virtual assistant, so that you can come on to that virtual assistant and actually close your operations while you are inside the virtual assistant. So you don't have to quit the virtual assistant and actually go and hop on the platform to complete your processes.
Thank you, sir. So there's a question from Ritika Bajaj, and she's a Flow member, and she wants to know, if the woman entrepreneur doesn't have the lowest bid, then what is the procedure for them to contact the officials and inform them that they're ready to supply the product at the lowest bidding value to get a percentage of the tender, as the government specifically for women entrepreneurs?
So they don't have to. She does not have to contact. According to the policy that the buyer is supposed to follow, he will, for example, suppose he has to give some order to the MSME also. He has to provide a preference to the MSME. Then automatically the buyer will match the price, the L1 price, and offer it to that MSME. So she does not have to do anything. It is a contactless platform, as I said earlier. So we don't prefer anyone to contact anyone here. The portal and the platform should take care of every little detail. And there is a session, there is a Q&A session. My team is also here. They will also throw light on individual use cases where the platform comes to their rescue. I can request them to, Mr. Rajesh Jain, are you there? Or Mr. Kamra?
I'm there. Especially in the system, we have already built up that 15% purchase preference policy. And if any MSC sellers are within that particular band, the system, the buyer can straight away ask for the price matching from those MSCs, the L1 price, and the order can be equally divided among them. So this is already inbuilt in the portal.
This is already implemented through the portal. So you don't have
Yes,
to, the other sellers don't have to intervene or do anything. If the seller is within the zone of preference, the platform will automatically provide that service to the seller.
Okay, sir. So there's a question from our Vice President. So if you can ask the question.
Sir, one query that how can one ensure that payments reach on time, especially if they're women entrepreneurs or small artisans, because they need their payments as quickly as they deliver the goods.
So good question, and that is why we are aware that if the payment system if the sellers are not paid on time, ultimately GeM will not have good sellers coming on the platform. And what will happen is a seller is not aware who a bad buyer is or who is a good buyer. So he is likely to jack up the price of his product because he has to factor in delays in payment. So a good buyer will also get products at a higher price, which is not good, which is not a desirable thing to do. So what we are doing is, that is why I said in my address that we are now moving towards deemed payment. So what GeM will do is, let us say you supply something to the seller, to the buyer. After 4 days within 4 days of supply, if the buyer does not raise a provisional receipt certificate and there is no complaint against your delivery, then GeM will generate the PRC for the seller so that the delays by the buyer don't contribute to delays in payment. So there is an intervention. So GeM will watch as a platform and intervene to generate that PRC for you. Similarly, after 10 days of delivery, if the consignee receipt and acceptance certificate is not generated by the buyer, then GeM will intervene and generate that certificate for you. And after 10 days of CRAC, let us say the payment is not made. Then in the case of a non-PFMS buyer, which means that he has a bank account, GeM will intervene and debit his balance, because you remember, the orders can be placed by a non-PFMS buyer only when the amount in question is blocked by GeM. Otherwise, the order cannot be placed. So I know for sure that this amount is available for payment. That is why GeM is able to deduct that payment and give it to the seller. And for this, we have integrated with 18 banks. And the product is called the GeM Pool Account. GeM Pool Account is for non-PFMS buyers. And let me tell you that even after 10 days of CRAC, if a PFMS buyer does not pay, I will not be able to deduct, because any payment coming from a PFMS system has to have the authority of the parliament. So I will not have the authority. So what I will do therefore is to run the interest clock 1% per month on the outstanding balance. Number one. Number two, I will start informing the superior authorities of the buyer. The combination of both these two steps will ensure timely payment to the seller.
That sounds very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And now over to Jahnavi for her concluding remarks. And sir, like the orientation and the presentation by your team, since we're running out of time, we will schedule another one and maybe chapter-wise orientations so we can include more members and have more question answers and more clarifications. So over to
I would strongly suggest that you have a detailed session.
Yes.
All the seller touch points are covered, namely registration, namely brand approval, product upload, and OEM dashboards. So they will explain each and every functionality so that all your members and women entrepreneurs, benefit from that.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you.
And your team for this extremely helpful learning webinar. There are so many points you've touched upon, and I can see that there are so many facets where one must address independently. With our 7 pan India, we, I guess, have a workshop at the center and enable our chapters as well. We will organize with your team's help to take up various facets, I think, chapter-wise. In any case, we are here to learn, and we're here to learn for our members and for beyond. And we would love to be that connecting force between you to take the message to other women entrepreneurs. Everyone benefits from this. We've learned a bit, not much, because this is a huge field we've touched upon. We will encourage our women entrepreneurs to register and make the best use of the government e-marketplace, which finds its pride of place in the world today, and the rest of the country and world is looking at what India is doing. So GeM provides the tools of e-bidding, reverse e-auction, and demand aggregation. I'm sure our women entrepreneurs will take maximum advantage of this to further their businesses. We are here to learn, Mr. Kumar, and we're here to learn it well. So thank you very much for your time. And
thank you. Thanks a lot. Namaskar.
May I now call upon my Flow Vice President, Ms. Janati Dalmia, to please propose a vote of thanks.
Namaskar. On behalf of Flow, I would like to thank Mr. Talin Kumar, CEO, Government e-Marketplace. Sir, you gave us a lot of pertinent information about the portal. It has made things very clear to us. I am also sure that our members will be highly benefited by onboarding GeM. I would like to thank the team from Government e-Marketplace for joining us today. We shall take some time, and we will make sure that we have some workshops in our chapters and in the center, as Janvi has said. My sincere thanks to the past presidents, chapter chairs, and governing body members, and all the members for joining us. Dharitri Patnaik, Chapter Chair, Flow Bhubaneswar, thank you for putting this very informative session today. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.